Hi guys, good to see you. I'm Dr. Alicia Armitstead, and I was really happy for this episode of Wellness Live to share with you just all the little tidbits that I know. I was thinking of different topics, and I'm like, well, I have this clinical pearl and I have that clinical pearl, but I don't know what else to talk about. And I decided that I would just bring it all together in this one episode. Hi, Ellen. On this one episode of just every little thing that I know, all these little things that I've seen really work well in the office. Because what's hard with nutrition, I think, is you hear one thing that works really well for one person and it doesn't necessarily work well for you. Or, you Google coffee or red wine, and half of the people say they love it and, it's healthy for you, and, the other half say it's not good for you. And it's really can be confusing at times. You Google, headaches, and you can start going down a rabbit hole of, I think you Google anything and everything, any symptom ends in death. So we have to be really careful. A lot of my patients come into the office and they know, they're like, I Googled and I shouldn't have, and now I'm all worked up. Is it cancer? And sometimes a headache can just be a headache. Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes it really truly is inflammation from somewhere else that's somewhere else in the body that's having a problem. And so using muscle testing, I love the technique because I don't have to guess at what might be the root cause. Using the muscle testing with the biofeedback of the body. Hi, Grace. Using the biofeedback from the body will allow me to know, okay, what is truly causing the inflammation in the head? Why are these headaches happening? And so when I think about helping people and what it is I truly do in the office, it's like, okay, the whole point is I use muscle testing to get rid of toxins, and with the right nutrition, the body can heal. And so yes, that sounds so simple and quick and easy, but it's, quite the opposite. It's like, okay, how can we identify what toxins are actually the culprit, what lifestyle changes are needed? Because what's needed for one person might be not the same for somebody else. And so one of the tips that you can do if you think that detoxing can help you is to drink 32 ounces of warm, not hot and not cold, room temperature or maybe even a little warmer, 32 ounces of warm water in the morning. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning. See, the liver detoxes at night. It takes all the toxins from the day before and it works really hard, and then it dumps the toxins from the liver into the intestines from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's another reason why it's so important to sleep at that time, to actually be asleep by 11 p.m., which can be really hard for us, especially the New Yorkers that we are. But if we're asleep by 11 p.m., then the liver really has the ability to really take all those toxins and dump it into the intestines. That next morning is when we should have a bowel movement and excrete all those toxins that got moved out. And so what happens when we wake up in the morning, we drink the 32 ounces of warm water. It can be with or without lemon. Lemon can be really detoxing. It can give that extra boost. It's loaded with lots of vitamin C. I also have seen people actually detox too fast using the lemon. So if you feel like you're actually detoxing too fast, you can take out the lemon and just do the water. It really flushes, again, everything out from the night before. And the water is great to actually get the bowel movement going. Dehydration is one of the main reasons for constipation. And one of the other things that you could add to this water is a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, which sounds really weird. Why would you be drinking baking soda? Or people ask me all the time, isn't it harmful? But the carbon dioxide or carbonate, sorry, in the baking soda actually really helps decrease inflammation. And my idea is if we get rid of the toxins, we can decrease the inflammation and give the body the support it needs to heal. And one of the other things I love to detox actually is castor oil packs, which I think is old school. Nobody does them anymore, and they're really beneficial for the body. You would actually buy high grade castor oil and you would dump it on cloth, make the cloth soaked, and put the cloth right over the liver. If you don't know where the liver is, I don't know if you can see. You see? Oh no. It's right under the chest, right there. Yes, I'm sitting on the floor. It's the best, cleanest wall I have. Everything else is too distracting in the back. And so, right under the rib cage on the right hand side is the liver. And you would sit it there for 20 minutes. And every night is the best time. Get that liver prepped for that 11 p.m. dumping. And so, if it's over 20 minutes, again, you can detox too fast, so I don't necessarily suggest it. And so what we want to do is, and castor oil packs, depending on the person, sometimes you do castor oil packs every night for 20 minutes, sometimes you only do it once a week. Again, if you detox too fast, it can cause a problem. Another way to help the liver detox would be coffee enemas. And again, enemas aren't always the funnest thing to do. And it's definitely not the first thing I suggest to my new patients. Hi, I'm Dr. Armitstead, and we're going to do coffee enemas. But it is one of those tricks I have up my sleeve if I'm really having difficulty with a patient, I'm not getting the results I need, or I really feel like that liver really needs the support. Coffee enemas, and you can do them at home. You can buy all the enema bag and tubing at a local drugstore. The coffee is specific though. You don't want any particular, Maxwell House. There's therapeutic coffee that you can buy. If you are interested, I can leave the link, just remind me. And the coffee enemas are really amazing for detoxing. The purpose is to put the coffee up through the anus and it goes into the bloodstream and doesn't get digested through the stomach. In this way, it can remove toxins that have accumulated in the liver that are really stuck. And it also is really purifying, helps remove free radicals from the bloodstream. And in this way, the caffeine opens up the blood vessels in a way that it wouldn't normally if it went through the stomach. And when it opens up the blood vessels, then that actual ducts, but it's called bile duct or gallbladder duct, that this is the tubing. It's very, very thin that moves the toxins from the liver into the intestines, and that opens up that as well. And so then again, blood flow, toxin flow, it can go through really well. And that's what I see a lot of the times. I'm like, oh, the liver's testing well, gallbladder's testing well, but the actual gallbladder duct is not testing well. And so we know that toxins can get backed up that way as well. And that's one reason why I suggest a coffee enema. When everything kind of opens up and dilates, it allows muscle contractions to occur easier as well, and which is needed if people are constipated, their bowels aren't moving correctly. We need the actual smooth muscle of the intestinal wall to be pulsating. And the coffee enema allows and stimulates an enzyme system in the liver. I don't want to get too scientific, but it's called glutathione S-transferase, which stimulates glutathione, which is the greatest enzyme in the body. If you ask my personal opinion, glutathione is amazing to really help the liver detox and get rid of free radicals. Free radicals cause cancer. So if we want to get the body to stay healthy, to stay strong, we want that glutathione working. It's a protein in every cell in the body, but it's synthesized in the liver. And the more glutathione we have, the healthier the liver is, the healthier the whole body is. And so coffee enemas, how did this even come about, was actually World War II. And they were doing enemas for the wounded soldiers, and they were, understaffed and overpopulated with patients, and they ran out of water. They had a coffee though for the nurses and the doctors. So one of the nurses had the brilliant idea of like, okay, we don't have water and we really need to do an enema, and there's coffee. And then they saw how the coffee enemas actually worked better than water enemas. When you do one, you just want to hold it for 12 to 15 minutes. It's not this whole long, crazy ordeal, but you have to do it in the morning. Otherwise, it can stimulate you when you wake up or it can keep you up. So first thing in the morning is when I suggest it. Another way to detox actually is from the mouth, oil pulling. If you guys haven't heard of it, definitely Google it. I love it. And you literally put oil. Sesame seed oil is best. Coconut oil is second best. And you would literally swish. Not vigorously like you would mouthwash, but kind of like pulsate it back and forth between the teeth. Because you want to do this for 20 minutes. That oil that sits in the mouth for that long and you're swishing it obviously gives really good oral health, helps the gums, the teeth. It's a whitener. I sell oil pulling for a lot of my patients who don't really want to do it. I'm like, it will whiten your teeth. And they're like, okay, I'll try it. But it's good for oral health, but it also helps detox. The lymphatic system that runs through our body, like blood, but instead of, blood vessels, the lymph runs through lymph vessels, and it's fat-based. It carries the white blood cells and it carries toxins. And it's fat-based, and so we need that oil, like attracts like, to help pull the toxins out. The lymph runs through our body. It doesn't have a pump like the heart, but it runs through our body once every 7 minutes. So if we actually oil pull for 20 minutes, we get the lymph going about 3 different cycles. It's so toxic, do not swallow it. And I spit mine out in the toilet, just because I also don't want it to clog the sink. And then I brush my teeth right away, and just keep getting rid of all the toxins that got pulled out. Also, to help the lymphatic system with detoxing would be dry brushing. And we have a great video on our YouTube channel of dry brushing that Maria did. And it helps open up the circulation, helps open up the skin. You want to do it right before you hop in the shower. But you take a brush, there's actual dry brushes where it has a long handle so you can reach all parts of your body. But starting from the neck down, you would brush towards the heart. And this way you can get the lymphatic system moving. And because sometimes the fluid just is stagnant. Exercise is really important for the lymphatic system. And I'll get more into, obviously we all know exercise is important, but it is one of my clinical pearls. Also, to get things moving, fiber is really important. People do talk about it, which is really nice. They talk about getting fiber in your breads, which I don't do a lot of breads. I do suggest a low diet, or diet low in carbohydrates, but get enough fiber through chia, flax, and vegetables. We talk about how it helps with bowel movements, but it also, the fiber, like we think of the little strands, also help the good bacteria grow in the intestines. So here we are trying to be healthy. We take our probiotic, all these good bacteria, and sometimes people don't have enough good fiber in the gut to have the bacteria actually stay. So they're literally taking the probiotic and they're just, pooping it right back out. The fiber is needed. The strands the bacteria hold on to, and then they really actually start to grow and colonize. And so besides good bowel movements, it really helps with good bacteria. In supplement form, it would be called a prebiotic. So that's the difference between a probiotic and a prebiotic. Probiotic is the actual bacteria, and prebiotic is the fiber where the bacteria can grow. And so I know it sounds way too simple, but eat organic, live and local. And I think sometimes we can get lazy about our organic selection, especially since it costs more. But the way I look at it is I'm spending this money on preventative healthcare versus later down the road, having to spend it on healthcare when I actually have something and, having to go to doctors. So it's all preventative health care. It really does make a difference. So eat organic when you can. I go to 3 different grocery stores. I try not to do it as often anymore, but before the pandemic, I used to go to 3 different grocery stores every week in order to get my right produce in my right store. I'm sure it's probably easier than that, but that's what I do. And eating local and live also really matters. So we are trying to eat healthy, we're trying to eat gluten-free, but a lot of gluten-free, it can be a lot of products that aren't necessarily food, that might not necessarily be quote unquote healthy for you. And so it's almost like if my great great grandmother ate it, I should be able to eat it too. We got to watch the processed foods. And live really does make a difference. It has a lot more nutrition, enzymes in it. But if you do notice, you eat a salad and you do not feel well and you do well on cooked vegetables, then you do not have enough enzymes to actually break down the raw food. That's what it takes. And so just know that you have to do something to help support your digestive system, and that doing supplementing with enzymes might be where it's at. And then do cooked, but do steamed if you can. That way it doesn't lose as much nutrition. Or blanch it. Don't have it in the water too much, and the less cooked it is, the better, until you can actually start eating more raw. And I think that we forget to eat local. We're used to our oranges coming from California, and not thinking twice about it. But if the store does have more than one orange, organic orange, then look and see where it actually came from. It would be more nutrient dense, because they don't pick it as fast. The oranges they get in California can be picked a lot longer or later or Florida, than the oranges that have to come up to us from up into the Northeast. And so when it's picked later, it literally has more nutrition from the tree. And so think about that. Read labels that way, because it does make a difference. And when it comes to eggs, actually, it's so confusing. They have cage-free, they have organic, but actually, better than organic is pasture-raised. So I think it's $1 more a carton, and it sounds weird to spend even more money, but it is worth it. If you take an organic egg and then you go out and you buy pasture-raised eggs, actually crack them side by side, and it's amazing to see the yolk color difference. And you'll see that the pasture-raised is a lot more darker because it has a lot more nutrition. So the difference is that pasture-raised will actually eat a lot more worms and grass. They're out in the yard more, besides actually treating the chickens better. It's actually what they're eating that makes a difference. Where organic eggs are from chickens that can eat a lot organic soy and organic corn. And, I don't want that's, to me, processed food for the chicken. And I have told people, okay, we got to stay away from corn. We got to stay away from soy. And when I muscle test, it's still in their system. They're like, they promise me that they've stayed away from it. And the change is, okay, then they have to stay away from meat that has eaten corn or soy. And the pasture-raised eggs make a huge difference. But so does the meat. So pasture-raised chickens, which is hard for me to find, but I'll do a lot of grass-fed beef. Pasture-raised pork is easier for me to find. It does make a difference. So when you guys see that as an option to buy, definitely buy that. It's less corn and less soy in your own diet, because you have to think about what the animals are actually eating. That makes a difference. And so, celery juice. another clinical pearl. It is not just a fad. I highly suggest it. And I hope it's a fad. I actually hope it's still a fad after all of this. I'm not quite sure if it is anymore. But we're not going out. Hopefully you bought a juicer. You're still doing your celery juice. When I do recommend it to patients, I do recommend 16 ounces on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, not to be mixed with any other juices. Don't just pure celery juice. Don't put cucumber juice with it or anything else. And it helps boost up the immune system by fighting bacteria, viruses. It's also anti-inflammatory. It contains tons of minerals that actually can support the body and boost up the immune system that way. And it detoxes the kidneys, supports the adrenals, helps actually our stomach produce more acid in order to break down our food. And it's actually, because it's so cleansing, can help our skin. It just looks better, which who doesn't want that? And anybody who has a thyroid condition, this is when I suggest the celery juice. And another clinical pearl. Celery juice, by the way, if you're drinking too much, can cause diarrhea. You know you're drinking too much when you have that reaction in the morning. So you might want to cut down to 8 ounces. You might want to do 8 ounces every other day. So those are things to look out for. But it is something you could do every day for 3 months, I suggest, and really in order to get the benefits. And then it might be something you go back to every now and then. Essential oils I love in my office. I use doTERRA. I've muscle tested all the companies. doTERRA does muscle test the best. I get amazing results with it because they're liquid. They go straight into the bloodstream. They cross the brain barrier, which is important. Not all nutrition does. So when healing the brain, getting inflammation off of the brain, they can be really beneficial. My top 3, it was really hard to figure out what top 3 do I want to share today. But lavender, people have heard about it, you know about it, you smelled it. It's really good for relaxation. It's not something you would do first thing in the morning. You would put it on, maybe spray lavender mist on your bed sheets in order to go to bed, rub it on your hands. Breathe it in as you're relaxing, going to bed. Diffuser also helps, but to really get it into the bloodstream, you can rub it on the bottom of your feet, which was surprising to me that that's actually the fastest way to get it into the blood, because I think of that skin as being thick, but studies show that that's actually the best way to get any oils into the bloodstream. And Elevation is my second favorite oil. It uses lavender, and it has all these different other oils in it. They call it a blend. Elevation by doTERRA. It uses lavender blended with lemon balm, which can be really relaxing, ylang ylang, and tangerine. The citrus is actually uplifting. Ylang ylang, it smells really floral. And I actually use it as my perfume. And I was just using because I like the smell, but then I noticed like it would actually just put me in a good mood. And it really does have this uplifting, optimistic ability. They call it the joyful blend. And then my third favorite is Clove. doTERRA has a blend called On Guard with clove and lemon and other oils. The clove kills everything. I love it. Bacteria, fungus, parasite, viruses. And so I will pop it in my mouth as to freshen my breath and to kill anything that might be sitting in my mouth. I use it to spray clean surfaces. And the moment I start feeling like I might be getting sick, I'll take my clove oil, and that really helps. What's also really good at killing bad gut flora in general and helping the body's pH is apple cider vinegar. So to go back to the 32 ounces of water, sometimes I'll tell people to put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in that, or maybe they don't need that much water and they'll just do like about 4 ounces, but it does need to be diluted when you take it on an empty stomach. If it's not diluted, it will upset your stomach, but it really helps if you're going after bad gut flora in particular, or if you know you have candida or any type of fungus infection. Apple cider vinegar, if it's on the skin or the scalp, you can put it right on there, but diluted. And one of my other favorite things is garlic. Garlic kills everything as well. And you can actually use it to prevent tick bites. So up here in the Northeast, during spring and summer, tick bites are very common. Weekly, I get a tick bite picture. And so I feel like I am a guru of tick bites and helping people with Lyme's acutely and chronic, actually. But the goal is prevention. So garlic really helps prevent tick bites, and you can do garlic capsules. I actually like kaolic garlic. It's a it's aged garlic. It loses its odor, and garlic supplements can be harsh on the body. You would take a garlic supplement with food already in your stomach, not in an empty stomach. But even then, it can irritate people. So kaolic garlic is the supplement form that I like. And but you could just eat a raw garlic clove if you can do it. Not everyone can do it, but again, with food in your stomach, it prevents tick bites by actually eating the garlic, because when you sweat, then the body secretes a scent that the ticks hate. And also, to prevent tick bites or just bug repellent in general, I hate how toxic it all is. And so I use essential oils as my do-it-yourself bug repellent. You would take a tablespoon of oil. It could be coconut oil, jojoba, almond oil. You need some sort of oil base. And then you would do 6 drops of peppermint, 6 drops of tea tree, and 9 drops of citronella oil. If you guys need that recipe again, just let me know. And I put it all together in that 1 tablespoon, and I just rub it all over my body. But also try to try to cover your skin if you know that you are going to go out for a hike. And to go back to garlic, if you're taking it in to keep your immune system nice and strong, know that if you cook it, it loses its medicinal value. So again, if you can chew a raw garlic clove a day with food already in your stomach, great. 60 seconds in the microwave and 45 minutes in the oven totally deactivates the garlic medicinally. And you shouldn't be using the microwave anyways. If you're using your microwave, then you have to watch my radiation video on EMFs. But if you are going to cook with garlic, if you crush it before you actually cook it, allow it to stand for 10 minutes, that actually will help it not lose its medicinal value. And to maximize garlic, the more you use, obviously, the better. And thinking of all the things that are good to eat, let's talk about the things not to eat. And so the number one culprit is sugar. White refined sugar, cakes, cookies, candy. We eat too much of it in America, and if we don't actually look at the labels, look at the actual ingredients, it's in everything. Added sugar in salad dressings and ketchup, things you wouldn't even necessarily think of. Hummus, here we are eating something healthy for us, and there's added sugar. The food companies use it. They know it's like, ooh, this tastes good. It's because of the added sugar in it. It's addicting. And so they use it, and it's cheap, and we have to be careful, and we need to read labels to not eat it. I think that's one reason why Americans are as heavy as they are, is because of the sugar and all the carbohydrates that we ingest. If we don't think about it, the average American diet is like wheat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we repeat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the body does not know how to handle it. So actually, one of my other clinical pearls is to rotate your food. If you can think about what you like to cook, if you can think about 3 different breakfasts, 3 different lunches, and 3 different dinners, and then rotate it, that would be best. I know it's hard when you live alone, because there's always leftovers. But if you can try to eat, something on Monday and then don't eat it again until Thursday, rotate your foods once every 4 days is ideal. even it doesn't even have to be wheat. I'm talking about broccoli, cucumbers, rotate everything. The body won't be so sensitive to it. And that's what happens a lot in my office is like, I see somebody get sensitive, like, oh, okay, you can't do almonds, things like that. And yeah, we think it's healthy for us, but the body, it just puts too much stress on the digestive system to break down the same thing over and over and over again. So rotate your foods for sure. And to go back to sugar, it's, I mean, it has no nutritional value whatsoever, but it also actually like depletes us of the nutrition that we have. So not only does it not add anything, but it actually takes away. It ruins, it like makes us burn our vitamin B too much, especially vitamin B12, and it burns out our zinc and magnesium, those three in particular. And it's just very inflammatory. The most inflammatory foods actually are alcohol, all types of alcohol, wine included, coffee, and sugar. Those three we have to be careful of. When I muscle test people, some people can handle actually coffee, but also make sure you're only doing 8 ounces and not 16, 24 ounces. Make sure you're not adding sugar or milk to it, and be careful of the milk you add if you are going to add milk. So it's also not just the coffee, but what you're adding to it that makes it such a culprit. And so when trying to lose weight or watch your weight, the less carbs, the better. If it's one carb that I like the most, that I think that people don't eat enough of when you are trying to eat well, is sweet potato. We have sweet potato about 3 times a week in this house, one way or the other. Sometimes it's mashed, sometimes it's baked. We really like it. It's a healthy carb. It's orange. It has the extra vitamin A in it, but it's sweet. So it's like literally feels like dessert sometimes. And it's a treat. And I don't think people eat it enough, and it's really healthy and can be very satisfying. Intermittent fasting, actually, I love. I'm a proponent of it. If you have any questions on intermittent fasting, please visit my website. But it can be confusing. There's all different ways to do intermittent fasting, but I do find it easy enough and with results in the office. It helps people lose weight, lower their cholesterol, lower their blood pressure, help with blood sugar. Those 4 reasons is why I would do intermittent fasting. And the 16-8 version, where you don't eat for 16 hours and you eat for only 8 hours. The 8 hours that I like the most to eat, that I find people get the best benefit from, is 11. So you eat something finally at 11. Before that, you can only have water, no coffee, no nothing. From 11 to 7. Those are the 8 hours that I find work the best for my patients, get the best results. It means it's not easy. It means that you finish eating at 7, not that you eat dinner at 7. So eat dinner at 6, 6:30, which is a little easier now that we're all home. It was harder, when you're just getting home from work sometimes at 7. So that's what I suggest for intermittent fasting. And putting together all these health tips, I almost forgot about how important our emotional health is. If it's one thing that I actually think is the most important after everything I've said, is that love is the best medicine. And we have to be aware and actually think about our relationships that we have and nurture them, and find ways to connect, which, is different now than ever, but I do think that we're being creative and finding new ways to get our needs met and connect, but also the relationship to ourself, which I don't think we think enough about, but we do have a relationship to ourself that has to be nurtured. And so sometimes for a better health, it's like, okay, what can I do to make me happy? What do I need? I'm too irritable, I'm not sleeping well. Those are the signs when you're not giving yourself enough attention. And what would make me happy? It's not that instant gratification happiness, but like long-term fill my bucket kind of in order to give to others. Sometimes we're just, going on empty, and we have to be careful of that. And so one of the things that I use in my office is a technique called Psych K. It's a mindfulness technique that helps support my patients in releasing limited beliefs and stress. And I just wanted to bring that up because I want you to think about having a relationship with yourself and what do you need in order to be happy for it or through it. Well, and speaking of sleep, I did a video a few weeks ago on sleep, and it's just so important to make us happy. I think without enough sleep, we're all irritable. To make others happy, but also just like the health benefits. Without enough sleep, we gain weight, we lower the immune system, we have too much inflammation in our body. So we have to be careful, and we don't detox. Like I said, that 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. is when that detoxins move from the liver into the gut, and it's so important. Lastly, just exercise, which, it seems like it's too simple, but it helps, again, with stress level. It's something that you can do for you. You might not love it while you're doing it, but I think we all know that we feel better after we do it. But make sure you're not doing too much and burning the body out. Make sure you're not doing too little. I would suggest, if you haven't been exercising, just promise yourself, a half hour twice this week. Start somewhere. And sometimes we feel like, oh, we need to do an hour. We need to do 2 hours of exercise. No, try to do a half hour. Really, that's all you need. And then if you feel like, okay, I need to go up a step, you go to 45 minutes if you have the time. If you don't have the time, just take that half hour and just make it more intense. Make sure you have some body weight exercises in there, or you actually have weights at home. Make sure it's, have some cardio as well. And as a chiropractor, make sure it has some sit-ups or some core activity. Okay. And all that can be done in 30 minutes. There's lots of, good apps out there that minimal cost. And I think apps are just easy. You don't have to think about it. It's different every time. So I hope you guys enjoyed all my clinical pearls. I don't think there's any questions. Oh, okay. So somebody did ask about the do-it-yourself bug repellent. So let me go back to that. It is 1 tablespoon of coconut oil or almond oil, 6 drops of peppermint oil, 6 drops of tea tree oil, and 9 drops of citronella oil. Excuse me. I'll write that in the comments as well. So good to see you. Bye.